Hello, what have we here?
Welcome to IDP Nation, the place for IDP and draft coverage. We are your hosts, Dan and Daryl. We have you covered from your LB one-year taxi squad. We are IDP Nation. Check out that new intro video. Daryl, it's beautiful.
I like it. It is. It's a beauty to behold.
It is. Thanks, Nate, for hooking us up with that. And we are going to be on YouTube now, so you might be watching this on YouTube. We are. My son thinks better of me that I'm a YouTube star now. Our faces are on YouTube. I guess I'll have to get dressed up and stuff when we do this now.
Yeah. I don't want to let your wives or girlfriends watch this because they might see me and be like, "Hey, what do I need you for?"
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
There you go. You know the saying, blind, crippled, or crazy.
Anyways, I'm Seahawks, as you can see on the screen. He's at Hollywood Titan. He's got to learn how to use that where you put your Twitter thing on there where it says your name over there.
Fine. But why do I have you again? This is your job. Why do I have you again?
I can't teach you how to log into something. So.
Oh, good grief.
And we are joined, as you can see, you haven't heard him much because we've been arguing like an old married couple. The at FF Hustler 420, Alex Moreno. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. Let me say that intro was pretty lit. The clip that I liked was the Antonio Brown doing the kick to the head on the Browns punter.
That's some old stuff back when he wasn't freezing his feet or going crazy. So the good Antonio Brown, I guess. Back when he should have never left Pittsburgh because after he left Pittsburgh, it was all downhill from there, pretty much.
Yep,
all downhill.
Yeah, but so today on the show, we're going to talk about linebackers and safeties. We're going to go over Alex's list of 12 and where we have guys kind of slotted in here, kind of compare and contrast. I know we've broken down safeties and linebackers. We're going to go 12 combined. We're going to take defensive ends out of the equation. We have talked a ton about defensive ends over the past week or so. If you didn't catch the IDP Lounge, check that out. It is still on YouTube, the Writer Digest Network. You can check out the 2 hours of fun that we had the other night. We'll be doing it again this Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And if you have a hot date or something, or, quarantine date outside or something, I don't know, you can check the replay out on the Writer Digest Network. We'll be tweeting that out and all that good stuff going on. So Hollywood, how's it going?
Going pretty good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Just sitting back, relaxing.
Yep. So we have the autism eliminators are up and running. 2 of them are. We still have room in 5 other ones. There's an IDP only. Come kick Daryl's behind.
Come on with it.
As Dingus needs some love too. The one Dingus has is not very full. So come join us in those. The eliminators are lots of fun. The drafts are up and running. In my draft, I drafted my first 4 picks, all had week 8 buys. And I didn't until somebody in the chat said, Dan's going out week 8. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, all of your players that you have are on week 8 buy. And I'm like, I am so screwed at week 8. So I countered that by taking the Trubisky Foles. Yeah, it was ugly, but it's
that is horrible.
It's super flex. But most of my weeks, I'm going to have Deshaun Watson and Drew Lock, so I feel okay about that.
Whew, that's rough. So, I can't lie. That's rough.
I have faith in my drafting, so that I can recover from that. It's offense only, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. I don't know. It's all luck anyway. I have Will Fuller to match up with Deshaun Watson, so hopefully I'll get 3 games out of Will Fuller this year.
Right.
That's about all he's good for.
No, this will be the year. Watch, in his contract year, he's going to just set up by surprise, play a full 16, get a nice contract, and then be back to normal next year.
And win me an eliminator. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I got him in a handful of leagues already. Just someone slide in when he's there and not care if he's not there.
See, I love Will Fuller in best ball because he's one of those guys you never know when he's going to go off. And, hey, if he gets hurt, oh, well, I'm the next man up on my best ball roster. So I have Cooper, too. And Amari Cooper is one of those players that you hate because you never know when to start him. You always start him, but
half the time it pisses you off when you start him.
Half the time you regret it because he lays an egg. But, that's another guy. Hey, in best ball, I'll take him every day. You don't have to click that button that says start. It just automatically does. So let's get into the news. Let's see. Is it good or bad?
These are all good news.
Okay.
Good news, everyone.
I'll ask this time before.
Yeah. So we'll go to the big nugget here first. The Browns signed defensive end Myles Garrett to a 5-year, $125 million extension. Takes him through 2026. As long as he's not swinging helmets at people, they should be fine.
So that tells you if you want a big contract, swing your helmet at a Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go.
That's how you get a big contract.
If it was out of conference, you might not have got that. But
right.
out of division, I mean. But, yeah, you do that to the Steelers, yeah, you should get rewarded for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, really the Browns, I think, are smart to tie him up because you can see with these deals, the longer teams wait, like Ngakoue, he doesn't want to be in Jacksonville because they didn't pay him. He wants out, and I don't know. The Eagles have been rumored to be doing something big. I don't know if that was signing Jason Peters or not, but that happened today. I know it's on the offensive side of the ball. But, Ngakoue still hasn't moved. Clowney still hasn't signed. Locking your guys up. That they kind of maybe the Browns looked around and said, we don't want to be in this situation where Garrett might come back and he might go somewhere else because somebody would pay him a whole lot. Man, that was like beer and shot, like boom.
Knock him out.
See, we're gonna have a new IDP Nation drinking game, or maybe not a drinking game, but a new contest to see. Because they can see Daryl now. They can tell how many beers he goes through in a show. And I don't normally have the video up because I'm normally clicking around.
I'm going to have to do this.
But then you have to come back with a new outfit on or something. Isn't that the TikTok video?
I can do that.
So that'll be the over-under. How many times does he cover his screen?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. See, I don't normally watch. I'm watching because I'm self-conscious about me, like, what I'm looking like on the video. But normally I'm going to.
Trust me, nobody's looking at you. They're looking at me and Marino here. We're the stars. We're the face. You just sit over there and click your little buttons and lead us in the right direction.
I can click some buttons. Ready? Watch this. How you like that button?
I'm going to have to talk to Nate about you.
But anyway.
This power control you have is going to your head. I don't like it.
Just managing. I can also mute you too.
Oh, gee. Yeah. You know what? Mute that.
This is supposed to be a clean show. Come on. Anyway.
I didn't say anything. I just said mute that.
What else you got in the news? We got another big contract signing.
Yeah, but just to piggyback off of what you said there, Myles, we said Myles Garrett got the big one and people are still waiting. You mentioned Ngakoue. There's rumors that he could still be possibly traded by the deadline tomorrow. So it would, from my understanding, it would take a big undertaking, but I don't think either side, like you said, Ngakoue doesn't want to be there. If they keep him, I think it's going to be more of a hassle than it's worth to them because he just doesn't want to be there. So this could go down to the very, very last second tomorrow. Maybe they try to get something from somebody, to take him off their hands, make it worthwhile. And I think it would be in their best interest to trade him because, like I said, if somebody doesn't want to be somewhere, it's just not a good for your atmosphere. It's not good for your team and all that. So cut you off and get what you can get.
Could be addition by subtraction. I mean,
right.
But I mean, you have Leonard Fournette that doesn't want to be there either, but he seemingly is going to be staying there too.
That's what I was going to say. What is it with the Jaguars? I mean, I understand everybody doesn't want to, overpay people, but it's got to be a fine line. I mean, I'm always going to side with the players. I mean, not necessarily as far as holdouts, but we play fantasy. I mean, we watch the players. I don't give two shits about the owners. Like the players are the product. Like we gotta keep them happy, and that's how you're going to get max potential out of them. Yeah,
I agree with that. The players are what we watch. But I mean, you got to think about Jacksonville. What's his name is out. Tom Coughlin is out. So he was what the players had, I think, the biggest issue with. But I guess Doug Marrone is more the same of that, possibly. I mean, I don't know. But it was anti-Gus, I guess. They had Gus Bradley, who's known as a player's coach and a really relaxed kind of guy. And then you go to, Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone, who, I don't know much about Doug Marrone, but I know Tom Coughlin is known as a taskmaster. And,
I mean, more importantly, who'd want to play in Sucksonville? That's the point we need to get at.
Why not, man? You can get free AEW tickets anytime you want, probably.
Heck yeah. They're an essential service in Florida.
Yes. Everything's essential in Florida. Although they did shut down the strip clubs, apparently, in Florida.
See, that's just a shame. Of all the things to shut down. I mean, really?
Was it
records? What's that?
Was it Florida or Atlanta? I saw that they were doing like drive-through like strip shows or like something at some strip club out there.
Drive-through. I'm writing that down. That's an idea.
I have a couple friends that live in Florida, so they update us constantly on the craziness going on in Florida. So one works in the restaurant industry, so he's updating on the nonsense rules that they come up with, and then how he's going to be the only one working there pretty soon because one person gets sick on your staff, it's like all of them can go home for 2 weeks because they don't want to get everybody sick. But yeah, it's crazy. Florida is just a crazy place in general. So.
We're going to have to talk about this on the Patreon, this drive-through.
We will.
I've got some ideas and comments. Oh yeah, I'm marking. Good job, Marino. I'm marking this down over here.
I'm gonna do some more.
I really want to touch on this. I want to do some more research and talk about this some more.
Yes. So if you're not a patron and you enjoy those sorts of topics, come join us. We will talk some IDP. I promise. We'll try to work in at least a couple questions. But we'll talk about something else that you might see, but we probably should not bring up on a, I guess, PG-13 kind of show. That's I guess what this is. I don't know. The Patreon's rated like R.
So, yeah, I love the Patreon. It's great.
Nice.
Yes. But anyway, any more news? Chris Jones got paid. Did you mention that?
Yeah, it was my next one. He got a 4-year, $85 million deal, which is good because I have a ton of shares of him. Yes. Cash money, homie.
Yes. Straight cash, homie.
That's right. Justin Simmons signed his franchise tender, so he's gonna stay there for another year.
They were trying to work out a deal, though, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think they could quite.
They have the 4 o'clock tomorrow, but Simmons said he would sign it and play. So.
Yeah, and I think what it was is they just kind of realized that they weren't going to beat the deadline, so he just went ahead and signed the franchise tag. So, which made sense. And then Shaq Barrett, the Buccaneers re-signed him to a 1-year, $15.82 million deal. Interesting because I've seen there's a sidebar to this. He has filed a grievance to be paid as a defensive end instead of a linebacker, and Bud Dupree of Pittsburgh has done the same thing. So
didn't Matt Judon hop on that too? Or am
I believe so. I think this is going to be a trend that we see, this edge that I hate.
That happened a few years back. Somebody challenged that. I think it was
Well,
Aaron,
it started.
wasn't it?
It actually started a few years back when Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski were
Wanted to pick
the
the
ball.
wide receivers.
They want to be paid as wide receivers. Yes. So I think
Maybe
think
they should click on PFF and see where they line up.
No PFF. Oh gosh. Well, I think some of them can win, some of them can lose, but it's going to be that snap count, like you said, where
I think the NFL is going to say, we don't care. Whatever the team wants to call you is what you are. The NFL doesn't care.
right.
But anyway.
Which I see this type of thing being a big issue down the road. I mean, it's just, like I said, Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham started a few years ago, and now it's beginning to snowball a little bit. So I see it coming. This is going to be.
We spent 30 minutes last week arguing about the edge and defensive end and linebacker on the Kyle show, the FF SmackDown.
There's no position in the NFL called the edge. Do not get me started again.
There's no position called Sam or Leo, but they make them up too.
But that's a linebacker position. It's just a different type of linebacker.
So the edge rusher is a position.
It's not a position.
Sure it is.
No, it's not. You're either a 3-4 outside linebacker or you're a 4-3 defensive end.
What's Chandler Jones's job?
That has nothing to do with it.
To kill the quarterback. That's his job.
You're the host and I'm the co-host, but we get paid the same.
Nothing. We don't really see anything out of pocket because we end up just paying for stuff for the show. So, and what little bit we get, yes, but we do appreciate the.
We do. Every bit helps.
Helping us out with the basically pays for our upkeep.
You know, like our good buddy Shane says, if you're a Patreon, we'll take even better care of you, show you special stuff and all this good stuff. And if you're not a patron, you're just missing out. So,
he has some other words for non-patrons, but
and I like those words. You know, I'm going with his thing. You know, if you're not a patron, you can't tell me what I think of Dan.
You won't want to miss the IDP Lounge this week because Shane is coming on an IDP program.
Challenge accepted.
So, Shane and Hollywood. Hollywood will probably get prepped for that by drinking a 6-pack and
six.
That's just to prepare.
Who the hell are you? Do you even know me?
I'll have 6 before.
Shane is coming on from crying out loud. I'm loading up tomorrow on the way home. Okay, this is like Christmas. You don't understand.
Oh man. So I should.
Shane is going to be over in the corner
back and let you two. He'll be checking his phone because that's what he does in the HQ all the time.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, he'll be bringing Madman and Sipes with him, so we'll have some good banter going on.
Yeah.
Marina's probably like, would you guys just shut up and get to my stuff already?
We will. Actually, you know what? I remembered what we were going to talk about this week that we forgot. We were going to go over the second half of our listener league rosters.
Oh, yeah. We can do it next week.
But yeah, we can do it next week. Well, we got somebody coming on next week, too. So,
yeah. Okay.
We'll review them at another time. Maybe we'll double up an episode next week or something like that. Or maybe the Patreon episode, we'll talk about that. Maybe.
Hey, there you go. Good teaser. You want to hear the rest of our the second part of our listener league? Tune into the Patreon.
Some people might not care.
Because that's where my roster is. So you definitely need to turn in and see how good I did. And model your teams after how I modeled my team. And, you know, you don't want to waste your time on Dan's team because, well, they suck. So just
I haven't missed a pick. By the way, I do need to thank you for your rookie draft database that you put together here. Because I have been using that to write my articles. And if you're listening to this on a Wednesday, tomorrow is a Thursday, and that's when my dumpster diving for taxi squads or taxi squad dumpster dives is coming out.
And keep sending those rookie drafts. I'm constantly updating, so send me the link to them. I'll get them on the database.
basically the idea is those bottom of the barrel taxi squad guys that you want to stash. No, they're not going to have anything to do with this year. 2020, they're not on your radar for 2020. They shouldn't be. But these are good guys to stash on your taxi squads that are either one or two roster spots away or just maybe a year away from producing. So they're guys you're not getting in the first couple of rounds of your draft. I think the highest guy on the list was, let's see if I can find it right. Pick 71. And that was only because they also weren't drafted in like 5 leagues. So just because the average says like 70 or something, I mean, 70 is still like a 6th round pick. So you're still not getting a high round. This is late round. You're going to stash these guys and hope for the best. But these are my best bets for defensive line. That includes defensive end and tackle. So check that out.
I'll be adding some more. I know if you look at it, there's a few that aren't filled in. Those are some leagues that the drafts aren't done yet that I'm in, so I'll be adding those. And then hopefully people will keep sending. So as this, I'm sure it's changed. I've seen a lot of change from when I've started.
There's like 50
especially at the
leagues
top.
on here. There's 50 leagues on here or so. So, it's a pretty good ADP database you got going because it's quite a lot of leagues. It's interesting.
Yeah, and if you look, there's a tab for last year's down there too, so you can kind of reference back and look.
The first one I looked at because I first clicked on it and saw Devin Bush, and I'm like, did he do a sheet?
Well, no, I try to keep them together because I like to keep that for reference and articles and stuff. Just kind of look back. So
I know I'm
kind of a nerd like that. Sorry.
And you were just making fun of nerds off air.
I was making.
50 is a good sample size, though.
Yeah, I mean, 50 rookie drafts. I mean, they're all about 7 rounds. I mean, not all of them are. Some are 14 team, but I mean, he's going by pick number, not necessarily round, whatever. So you have to do some math, but divide by 12, folks. For your 12-team league. Divide by 14 for your 14-team league.
Yeah,
right. But you're getting a general consensus of where these guys are landing and who's and for me, because I'm putting them in all the time, I'm seeing who is maybe rising and falling a lot.
Yeah.
And I know my spreadsheet doesn't really show that, but you could see it. I do have it out there on Reddit where people could follow. And I mean, if anybody wants it, feel free. I'll send you the link so you can see it. But
keeping it secret.
Well,
we'll give it to our patrons.
Sure, we'll do that. There you go. You want to be a patron? You can have my rookie database, and it'll cover last year, and it'll cover whatever we got, however long we keep going with it. So,
boom.
And also, I'll be using it in some articles, so you might see the data in the articles.
Well, you're going to have to sign up for our Patreon then to get this. So.
To get that, yes, but the data will be used. You know what? I have to go actually and edit my article because I need to thank you for the information.
Oh, that means so much coming from you.
Well, I like to reference my sources. I like to be a legit writer here.
You know, if I had feelings, I'd kind of be touched right now.
Your single feeling? My
single feeling. Oh, shit.
Anyway, we'll get to the full session later. We brought on Alex to talk about his show. So first of all, tell us where we can find your show and any of your work that you do.
So on YouTube, I'm a part of the Fantasy Stock Exchange. That's our fantasy crew. And my series within the channel is Defense Wins Championships.
Nice.
And yes, defense does.
Absolutely.
If your IDP squad is terrible, if it's a good league and your scoring is good, then you're not going to win. So definitely. And check those out. Some cool video clips in there. Definitely. I caught a few minutes of an episode today. I've caught one before as well. So check those out. YouTube. So we're on YouTube now. So you can go.
Sweet.
His page, go subscribe, and then come back to this one.
So does this make us YouTube stars now?
We are YouTube stars. Like I said, my stock in my son's eyes has gone up since I'm on YouTube.
Awesome.
He's only been asking me if he could start a YouTube page for like 3 years.
This has got to be the youngest one, right?
No.
Okay.
The older one wants to. Well, he watches all these videos about people playing video games on YouTube.
My son does that. He's always. I'm like,
get him on it. Get him on it. I wish that my parents didn't hold me back from playing so much video games when I was a kid.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. I used to think the same thing, and he sits and watches videos for hours at a time, and I'm like, I don't get it, but now I do because he'll turn around and do the same thing on the game that they're trying to do, and most of the time he'll do it or do it better, and I'm like, that's pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah. It's I don't know. My other son watches plenty of YouTube videos, but they're of like people in elevators, and I don't know. He it's kind of cool. He did find a video of the Incredicoaster in Disney. I think it's Disneyland or California Adventure, one of those. So he watched, and he really liked that roller coaster when we went out there last year, and he like loves watching the video of like it's kind of like a GoPro camera. So he loves watching the video of the roller coaster, which is kind of cool. So
you need to bring him to Tennessee to Dollywood, man. They have a roller coaster. Well,
when stuff gets open again, we'll think about it.
Do it. They've got one it's called Eagle's Nest, and you're setting. It's birds. It's an eagle actually. So you got under each wing, you've got one seat, and you're flying because the roller coaster is up on top instead of the bottom. So the track is above you, and you're flying. So it's like you're flying because you've got nothing below you. So you're just flying. It's awesome, and it freaking hauls ass.
Yeah, he's my daredevil, so he will go on anything. He doesn't.
I like him.
He doesn't get scared. So me and him go on all the rides. My other son, not so much. But we were supposed to have Hershey Park passes this year, but Hershey Park was closed till about a week or so ago, and then I think it closed back down. Or you got to wear a mask the entire time you're in the park.
That's how Dollywood is right now.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. So we'll try again next year. We'll see. But anyway, we'll get to the business here. We're going to talk about some linebacker and safety combined rankings. Take your defensive ends out, although my advice is always take those early. But once those are gone, what do you go for linebacker? So your number one, let me be a mind reader, and Darius Leonard.
Yep, very easy. No, I haven't seen any ranking that doesn't have him as number one, and I mean,
if you do rank somebody higher than Darius Leonard in Dynasty ranks at linebacker, please at me and tell me who you are, because I'd like to meet you, I guess.
Don't at me because I'm pretty sure.
Learn why you're a contrarian. And
yeah, don't at me because if you're ranking anybody above Darius Leonard, you're probably not going to like the onslaught that's coming.
Well,
I
mean,
I'm just saying. In no world is it right to rank anybody above Darius Leonard at this point.
Danielle Hunter?
Close, but no. I
still take Leonard. See, if I'm drafting, I'm taking a defensive end before.
No, if I'm drafting, I'm taking Hunter, but it's not much further than Leonard. It really isn't. The only reason I'm taking Hunter is because of the position scarcity.
Yeah.
But as far as scoring players itself, Leonard's your best scorer.
I'll give you that. So that's pretty unanimous. How about number two?
All right, so number two, I got a safety in there. I got Budda Baker at number two.
Oh,
Budda.
whoa,
I love Budda.
Whoa.
I love Budda Baker.
Tackle machine.
He was the number one safety last year in fantasy. So, I mean,
okay.
I don't think he's going to continue that. See, people have been doubting Budda for years. People doubted Budda when Antoine Bethea was there. They were doubting it when Trey Boston was there, when Tony Jefferson was there. Like they've been doubting Budda every year that he's not going to produce because he's been a safety one, I think, his entire career.
Yeah, he'll be a producer. I just don't think he's the number one safety.
Well, I mean, we're talking dynasty. I mean, and I know everybody. My top four for safeties, I know, is probably all interchangeable. So I'll get your guys' thoughts as I get there. But I'm sure everyone has the same four as the top, but all kind of mixed and matched.
Yeah, I have Buddha as my third safety. If I had to slot these guys, we didn't kind of juggle these like you did. We kind of put you on the spot and told you to do that. But I would probably take Buddha 8th overall, probably, if you're talking just linebackers and safeties. Because I think I have about 7 linebackers I would take before Buddha. But, I mean, Buddha is definitely he's my third safety. I love Buddha, but safety not as – when I'm drafting, I don't value the safety position as much. I value it more than a lot of people because I always end up with good safeties because people sleep on safety for rounds.
I think he's my 3rd or 4th safety, so he might squeak in my top 10 overall because I think I've got a number of linebackers ahead of him. So,
yeah.
And when it comes to drafting, I mean, especially if it's a league that it's not super IDP heavy guys like the teams that are in it. If I'm in a league where nobody really knows about IDP, I usually just fade everything until the end because my knowledge is so good that I'll get, maybe not the top 1 or 2 or 3 guys, but, I'll get a solid core in there. And so these are all my rankings. I might not even draft these guys because they're so high, just depending on who kicks off, IDP going in the leagues.
Yep. All right. Who's number 3?
Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds has been a number 1 guy both years.
And mainly because it's Dynasty. I don't have him that high on my redraft. I kind of have him for 2020 right around top 10. But, just coming in there as a 2-year starter, over 100 tackles each of the 2 years, I only see him going up. And already, 98 snap percent guy. So, I mean, just nothing but solid production moving forward.
It's probably in that fringe 12, 13, 14 range for me. Overall, I have a few linebackers dynasty-wise ahead, just because I think he's solid. I think Milano does take a hair away from his ceiling, just because of
and Poyer hurts him just a little bit on the back end. But I like it. I mean, I'm kind of more with Dan. I think he's in my top 15 range, as I have a few more linebackers ahead of him. But, a lot of these are interchangeable. It's just a preference. So I'm not hating it. I mean, hey, if you're going to stick your neck out there, that's the way to go. I mean, and it's not a bad one because, like you said, he's been their leading tackler the last 2 years. I don't think Milano is going to stick around a long time. I think that he eventually moves on, or they let him go.
Really, though? I mean, I can see them keeping those two together for a while.
If they were smart, they would.
Yeah, I mean, look at KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner. They've kept those two together pretty much their entire career. I mean, as long as Milano isn't asking for, like,
I'd have to go back and look at his contract to see if I can find it while you're talking.
I think he's got another year on at least. But while you're looking for that, who's number, what are we up to, 4?
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 4, got Devin White.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a full 16 games out of him this year, but the talent's there. Just a good mix of everything. Rushing the passer, going back in coverage, solid tackler. Defense is getting older over there. He's going to be the young stud that's just leading that charge for a little while.
Yeah, and with Devin, Levante David there, I think, again, a lot of these teams can support 2 linebackers, and they definitely can.
Right.
Tampa, I mean, Tampa's a weird team this year because they bring in Tom Brady and automatically switch to a win-now team instead of a rebuilding team.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see if that defense can hold up their end of the bargain just because, their offense really wasn't that big of a problem last year. It was their defense that kind of let them down in games. So,
yeah, but if you look at their defense, they've kind of brought back everyone. They still have Jason Pierre-Paul. They brought back Sue. They're getting Vita healthy back. Huh?
Is that a good thing?
I think it is, especially for Brady. I'm sure he'd much rather have him on his team than,
If they get better, it's a good thing.
JPP has the best, what is it? The 3-finger stance out of everybody.
It's literally a 3-point stance.
Oh. Daryl said he nearly blew his hand off, didn't you? Or something like that?
I did. I don't even know how I did it.
You were trying to be like JPP. That's all.
But I have basically no hair on the entire part of my forearm all the way around. No hair. It's just
you got those 5 fingers, though.
I do have those 5 fingers. I do have
the digits. You got the digits.
But going back to Tampa, I think their defense kind of got the raw end of the deal, because statistically they weren't that bad. But when your QB gives up 30 interceptions, in the season, and if you're starting off in field goal position and the defense hold you to a field goal, I would say the defense did something good there.
Yeah.
And they get everybody back for another year. They're bringing back all these pieces for another year, so it's not like they're kind of reloading. I think they brought in Antoine Winfield, who can push for a starting job. But other than that, up front, their linebackers, they're all kind of set. So I like it. I mean, you bring in Brady, who doesn't typically turn the ball over. That's going to, if you can reduce your interceptions and fumbles from 30 plus down to 10 or 12, that's a win right there,
Yeah.
Yep.
And hitting on Milano, he is a free agent in 2021.
I can see Buffalo bringing him back, though.
Depends on what he's asking for. If he continues to put up the numbers, he's not going to be cheap. You know that. So do they look maybe towards the draft in 2021, which, by the way, there is some good kids coming out. I'm just saying.
Is Buffalo going to be picking that low, though? I know you can get a linebacker in the 20s pretty easily, but
I think it'll be a deep enough class. They may not get the top guys that we know, the Parsons, the Dylan Moses, and stuff like that, but they'll be a deep enough class. They may entertain looking at getting that young guy.
Yeah.
Because he's
right, so who's at number 5? I have Devin White underneath the other Devin and a few other guys.
Right.
I got Devin Bush a little lower, but number 5, I got Collins.
Yes. Collins, okay.
My man.
Where do you have him, Hollywood? Where's he on your list?
He's my 3rd safety overall. He was right in front of Baker. I have Adams and Derwin James at 1 and 2. Yep. Collins was my 3rd, so I'm not hating this. I like it. Him playing in Washington. They're getting that front four.
Washington no names now.
Yeah, the front 4/front 6 that they got is going to be lethal. And with some of those linebackers, I love it. I think he's going to clean up on the back end. I really like that.
One vision I keep seeing in my head is like Collins and Young lining up on the same side and just pick your poison. Like whoever you block, the other guy's just going to destroy the quarterback.
And then you got Montez Sweat on the other side and Jonathan Allen, Jerron Tanner. Yeah, Matt Ioannidis. They're literally going to be able to have a rotation where there's not a drop-off.
Yep.
Yes. If you're looking for an interesting read, I think Johnny the Greek may have written something about Matt Ioannidis and his tackling veracity. It's very interesting. I think it was last year he wrote that.
And Z-Mags, our other colleague, just wrote something about Montez Sweat, who I love this year.
Johnny's was more for his funny caption to a picture.
The impact that Chase Young is going to have on this team.
Let's get over that. It was something in the IDP chat that was made me laugh out loud. But anyway, if you can find that article on idpguys.org, look up Johnny the Greek. Or I don't know. I guess he goes by Johnny the Greek on the site. But look up his article on Matt Ioannidis. It's funny.
And I like Matt Ioannidis. He had a hell of a year last year for them.
Yeah, he moves kind of more interior, but he was already kind of interior playing 3-4.
Yeah, I think him and Kerrigan kind of take the back seat this year, but they're going to be rotational players that's not going to – when you put them in, you're not going to see that drop-off.
Yeah, they have a solid line.
I am so impressed with what they've done with their line. It's one of the more impressive ones I've seen in some time because there's – usually there's a drop-off if you go to your backups or you have a rotational piece.
There's a bit of a drop-off.
A little bit because of the age, but, you give them rest.
Matt Ioannidis is not Jonathan Allen.
No, but he can hold his own. He had, 7 or 8 sacks.
But, I mean,
so there's not I wouldn't say there's a huge drop-off. It's not like you're going from Jarrell Casey when he was with Tennessee, Jarrell Casey or Jeffrey Simmons down to a Daquan Jones. It's not that type of drop-off by any means.
Okay. What's up next?
All right, so number 6, I got Roquan there.
Nice.
I have Roquan as my number 3 linebacker, and if I'd have missed making this list, he'd probably be 3 overall as well. Roquan should eat. I mean, he lost some time first season he played pretty much the entire season, finished as an LB2, and last season lost the second. Most of the. He played like 9 games, I think it was, but before that, he was statistically outstanding. So. Playing I think he played like 10 snaps of that last game he played, which kind of ruined his averages if you're looking at purely averages, because he didn't really do anything in that game. And when you try to do the math, dividing it over 9 games makes him look like he had less impact than he really did in the beginning of the season.
Young stud. He's going to be holding down the middle, and need to see him play a full 16 again and just rack up a season full of stats.
Yeah.
And he gets Nathan back. He's got Khalil Mack back. And now they have Robert Quinn on the other side. So I think his production is just going to continue to rise. I really like Roquan.
Yep. All right. Who's after Roquan?
All right, jumping back into another DB, I got Jamal Adams.
Okay. There you go.
Soon to be Seattle Seahawk.
No way. Get out of here. Dream on, loser.
I can dream. I don't know, some website had that as a thing, as a rumor. I'm like, man.
They're crazy.
That'd be great.
Seattle. Come on.
Get him, get Clowney, get Ngakoue, just bring them all.
See, this is why I can't with you.
I wish I was one of those guys who knew how to put the jerseys on other people, because I would just make 31 of those and just throw it out there. I would for sure have him higher if I knew where he was going to go. I mean, that's really the only reason I have him so low. If we knew where his landing spot was going to be, and hopefully there is a landing spot. Hopefully he does get moved.
Well, I think this year he's going to be in New York, because I mean that trade talk died down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think teams are looking to really make a whole lot of moves with the season in question. I think they're fine just kind of sitting back and kind of being like status quo for this year as far as they are now. That's why I don't think you've seen Clowney or anybody else sign, because they're all like, just pump the brakes, take it easy, just relax.
Especially because of that new TV deal. It's like once that kicks in, everyone's contracts are going to go up.
Yeah. And people were arguing about in our subscriber chat about Patrick Mahomes' contract. I'm looking. I mean, I've heard a few analysts and people talk about the contract. It's really not a terrible contract for Kansas City. It's actually really good, and that's why they signed Chris Jones today, because they still had flexibility. And I said, in 5 years, in 6 years, Justin Fields is going to be getting $60 million a year.
Right.
I mean, that number's not going to stop going up. Those quarterback numbers are ridiculous. So if you can get him locked in for 10 years and you have the club options, I mean, you're good to go, man. You got a starting quarterback at $45 million. 10 years from now, they'll be making $100 million a year.
Yeah, and I think I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they said it barely added $900K to the cap or something this year, because the way they structured it did nothing to the cap for this year.
Yeah, teams have gotten very smart at maneuvering the cap. So just because you hear these huge numbers, you got to look at the cap hits each year. I mean, at the end of the deal, sure, those cap hits might be monstrous. But I'm pretty sure for the next 5 years, that team can still sign their key guys. I mean, Tyreek Hill, I think, is actually Hill got a contract last year, didn't he?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't remember.
I think him and Kelsey are up in 21 and 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they have a few years. This window is still open, I mean, for them. So
And one thing you mentioned, and I hadn't thought about it till y'all just said it, is the TV contracts. Yeah. They're going to be the real winners here, because if there's no fans, or even if it's a limited amount where you can only have so much seating, they're the ones that's going to come out, because everybody that can't or won't go to a stadium, you can bet your ass they're going to be tuned in on Sundays and Monday nights and even Thursday nights. They're going to get their fix on TV, and the TV companies are going to rack up during this period right here.
Well, I can tell you personally, not personally, but in Philadelphia, there will be no gatherings of mass amounts of people.
Right, and I've seen Jacksonville is only going to do 25%, which should be really easy for them.
Well, I mean, the Philadelphia mayor and the city council, they banned everything pretty much from happening in the city. So, I mean, both of the
the
Eagle Stadium and the Philly Stadium are in Philadelphia, and they are not going to be allowed to hold fans. Pretty much is what that means. So.
Yeah, so these TV companies, they're going to come out like gangbusters with this, NBC and CBS and Fox and ESPN, because, if you can't go to games, or if you choose not to because of the mask, that's your, whatever, or the limitations, you're going to want to sit at home or go to a friend's house or whatever you do, or if the bars are open, you can go there, but you're going to get your fix on TV, and those are going to be the real winners. They're going to make out like bandits with this.
I think that things are going to change this year. I bet the Twitters of the world and Yahoo and Facebook, I mean, they're probably going to structure something to where more of the games are going to be on there. I remember one year Twitter was they had the Thursday night football, and then like Amazon had it last year. Like a lot of these streaming companies, they're going to start throwing their
and Amazon and Yahoo, they got big money they can throw at this. And the NFL, as we all know, they're about that cash money. They're not going to turn down these big opportunities, especially in a situation like this where fans can't get to the stadiums. They can't, or it's a limited amount, or they can't go to their local pub and watch it. So they're going to take full advantage of this.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I prefer my couch for football.
I do too, or the local pub or whatever.
I prefer my couch.
Well, that's because you don't have friends.
I watch more than one game at once. I used to be a Charger fan when they were here in San Diego, but when they left, I became a free agent. So I watch every single game when it's on. So, I mean, I can't just – going to a game makes it harder to watch football for me.
Well, we'll take you as a Tennessee fan, man. Come on, jump on over. Just stay away from that Seattle crew. They're bad news. You don't want to.
It's actually funny you mentioned that guy. I was in San Diego last year, and it was I couldn't find any Charger stuff around. like the town just as like I went to Petco Park and stuff. It was pretty cool stadium for the Padres. But yeah, I was looking around some of the local stores, and there was like no Charger stuff around. And I was like. I guess they're dead to San Diego.
And I know this is a little off topic, but I had a coworker. She took a vacation to Laughlin, Nevada last week, and she said Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders. She said that is the most impressive thing she has ever seen in her life. She said
the giant Roomba.
Yeah, she said that thing is massive, and it stands out to itself when you enter.
Too bad no fans will be able to be there. But
it'll be a beautiful stadium.
Virtual tours. Such a bad time for all these new stadiums that are getting ready to be unveiled.
Out of the Los Angeles Stadium, it's like, okay, what's going to happen here?
I was so hyped about going to WrestleMania that it was going to – I mean, now I don't think it's going to be there, but I've been waiting like my whole life to be able to go there just somewhere in SoCal. And, now I don't think it's happening.
Oh, WrestleMania is a bucket list item for me. I so want to do that.
At least once.
Yeah.
Yes. I crossed off the draft last year when it was or 2 years ago when it was in Nashville. So now it's WrestleMania. That's what I want to say.
I really wanted to see that draft in Vegas with all the different things that they were talking about happening, like people getting pulled up on the boat or whatever in the middle of the Bellagio fountains or whatever it was. That would be pretty cool. Someone doing a stage dive in their suit or something, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Getting back on track here. What's next on your list here?
Yes. Number 8 we are.
Yep, back at number 8, I got Joe Schobert there, and
Nice.
I think he's going to kill it in Jacksonville. Like, just him going there reminds me of Puz Lesney. A force in the middle, and Miles Jack is going to be going back to the outside. So, he's going to be holding down the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, I have
agree.
Schobert behind a couple guys, but yeah, I have Schobert definitely up there on my linebacker list.
26, so even for Dynasty, even though he's moving, seems like an old man, but 26, he's got a lot of good years left.
Yeah.
And he's going to eat down there because Tennessee loves to run the ball. You've got Houston, who pretty much going to love to run the ball. I mean, they don't have Hopkins no more, so they're going to kind of rely on that run game. You've got the Colts with their new toy, Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack, because Phillip Rivers, he's just not going to be able to do a whole lot, in my opinion.
No.
So these teams are going to want to run, and you face them twice a year. So that's 6 games where you have the opportunity to load the box against. So not considering everybody else that you play. So, yeah, I like him down there. He's one of the few players for Sucksonville that I do like, yes.
And I don't have Miles Jack on this list or anything, but he's someone I think has a real big bounce back year. Just now going back out to the outside, getting back to a more natural position. I think he's undervalued right now for sure, just based on his last season.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think the switch back to the outside does help him. Don't know how much, but I do expect a little bit of a production bump from him, yeah.
I think he'll get back to at least the LB2 status.
I think he'll be close. I'll give him the LB2 3/3 status. I'll put him right there. But, yeah, I mean, he's not an LB1. He's kind of proven that. So,
yeah.
Schobert in town, I like it. You got Josh Allen down there rushing the edge. It would help if they had Ngakoue, but apparently, they believe enough in Chason to draft him kind of early. So maybe that's Ngakoue's replacement if they trade him or whatever, or he holds out, whatever the case may be. But
yeah, we know you don't like Chason.
It's not that I don't like him. I just don't see his game translating. If you can't do it in college, how are you going to do it in the pros? And I know somebody's going to hit me up.
Exactly, you don't like him. That's the definition of you don't like somebody. You don't see their game translating.
Just like I hate the Bosas, just like I hate whoever.
Against them, yes.
He didn't mean you wanted to take him out for dinner. He mean, did you
That's
like
right.
him on the field?
I like the Bosas. I just think they're kind of injury prone. They've shown that in history. Can they prove me wrong? Sure.
Joey Bosa played 16 games last year.
See, Dan's just a shit starter.
I'm sorry for bringing facts into a conversation.
How dare you? Especially in my state right now.
Yeah, I watch every game, but watching the Chargers, last year, I don't know, it seemed like a fluke for every year that I've, prior to for Joey.
Right.
I don't know. He's always got some limb or something. I guess every football player does, but
True.
I don't know. It just seems to slow him down a little bit.
If you take the injuries out, I love the Bosas. And I still love them with the injuries because, they're elite. But, you can't take that away. You have to consider that sometimes.
Yeah. After, Schobert, who you got?
All right, so number 9, I got Derwin James, kind of last DB who made the list. And I would have him higher if he wasn't one of these, injury-prone guys. First season just lit it up.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, his injury last season, I'm not sure if I would label him injury-prone. He missed a lot of time with injury last year, but he's been pretty healthy throughout.
For you, too. We know quick question, because it just hit me, sorry to interrupt. We know that San Diego, Los Angeles, Chargers, whatever, they've had a history of not having good linebackers, which has helped Derwin. How much do we think Kenneth Murray is going to hurt his value? Because I like Kenneth Murray.
I don't think it's going to hurt his value. The Chargers have pretty much shown that they –
yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt him either.
Somehow. So
right.
I don't think they're going to change any types of schemes or anything. I mean, I don't know. I just don't have confidence in the Chargers offense or defensively, really.
Right.
Yeah.
I like Kenneth Murray. I like Derwin James. I like Desmond King. And then outside of that, it's kind of, I don't know. Joey Bosa, you know.
You mean you don't like him?
I'm not saying a word to you, but I know you can see this.
I can't. I don't have the screen up anymore. But actually, today in the Last of Us 2 draft that we're doing, one of the, I think, 5,000 startups that Sean started. I joined in late. I took Rayshawn Jenkins, and then in the chat, I posted for the brand because we got to have a Jenkins on our team at some point. One of us, both of us.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard the word Jenkins, I wouldn't have to work no more.
You might not.
I might not. Please donate. That's going to be the new thing. Donate $1 every time you heard the word Jenkins so I can retire, please.
Well, you see, you'll just end up putting all that money in the swear jar, so you'll end up taking from one and putting it in the other.
Robin Peter, play ball.
There you go.
So who's number 11?
All right, number 10, and I got Devin Bush. And
Yes.
so excited about him. I mean, the Steelers' defense is starting to remind me of what they used to be, 10 years ago. And him and T.J. Watt, I mean, man, they're just so solid up front now.
Yeah. Yeah, they I'm not sure if they remind me of like the old school Steelers. Like you're saying 10 years ago, I can see that. Yeah.
Getting back to that point.
Yeah.
I don't think they're there, not the Palomalo, days, but not the Super Bowl, year or anything, but getting back to at least that. It seemed like their defense fell off so much in the last couple of years.
But, man, they've had a couple tremendous rookie drafts the last couple of years. Love what they've been doing.
Well, don't pat them on the back too hard. They won with Bush and they won with Watt, and Dupree has looked okay. But they have a history of being terrible at drafting linebackers. Sean Spence. Let's see, Jason Worldless. What was the other guy?
I'm not just talking about linebacker, though. I'm talking about their whole draft. But they did get Alex Highsmith, who everybody loves. He's going to be an outside linebacker, that edge guy that everybody loves. So
he's going to be the guy that takes the place of Bud Dupree when they let him go because they aren't going to pay him.
And I think that's not a bad move because I like Alex Highsmith.
Dupree is, I believe, on the franchise tag this year, but they're not going to pay him after that.
Right, and he's one that's filed a grievance to be declared or get paid as a defensive end. So
they definitely aren't going to pay him then.
Yeah.
Big standoff coming.
Nah, I think he signed his deal already. I don't think he's been making any noise. I mean, he filed that grievance, but I think he'll end up signing. But,
I just mean about next year and actually getting paid. But.
Yeah, next year. Well, that's for next year. Next year, I saw something. There's like 10 starting running backs that are free agents next year. So free agency is going to be, including your buddy there, Daryl.
Yeah.
So curious to see what happens with him if they just try to get him to sign a team deal. A lot of it's I'm sure gonna come down to production this year.
They're gonna wear him into the ground and let him go.
Very likely.
That's what teams do, running backs. That's why running backs want to get paid because they know they're just going to run them into the ground and hope they can get what they can get out of them. All right, we're at number, 11?
At 11, yep. And I got Jalen Smith.
See, Jalen Smith I have at number 2.
Okay.
And part of that is I am concerned about Van Der Esch's neck. And when Van Der Esch isn't there, Jalen Smith is putting up numbers like crazy. And, he's got that ceiling of a number 2 guy. And I'm not sold that Van Der Esch is 100%. I mean, he's come out and said he's 100%, but I still worry about that neck. And Jalen Smith, he has looking like he has zero injury concerns after that catastrophic senior season bowl game injury. It looked like he was done playing football, and he's come back pretty much 100% and even better because he's been a great pro.
Right.
I don't even think his senior season for the Irish, he thought he was going to be that good. So he's exceeded expectations, definitely. And
So probably my hatred of the Cowboys, why I have him so low. I mean, if I didn't mix in the DBs, I mean, I think I still have him at number 6 or number 5 for just linebackers. So,
yeah.
But I can't get the Cowboys' egos, getting any puffed up more than they already are. So, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with hatred of a team. There really is.
I hate a lot of, I hate the Cardinals and the Rams and the Niners, but I still have Buda Baker high in my ranks. Like, I don't let that influence me. I don't really – I look at players as I like them as a player.
Right.
I don't necessarily attach them to that team because, in all honesty, in 5 years when they're free agents, they're going to flip-flop teams. I mean, the Honey Badger's been on, 3 teams already?
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love Honey Badger, and I'm not going to hate him because he's on a certain team because he's going to be gone from that team. He's another guy, the Honey Badger in Arizona, that he's supposed to take away from Buda Baker's production.
Yep. And I was just having fun with the Cowboys, making sure if there's any Cowboy fans out there. I love talking shit to them and just starting some shit there. Yeah,
there's a few listen to us, so I'm sure there will be.
There's nothing wrong with that because, I hate Saxonville. There is nothing wrong with that.
There goes our invite to the open bar. Thanks, Daryl. Jacksonville guys. But anyway. Yeah. I'm not a big Cowboys fan either, but Jalen Smith from Notre Dame. So
right.
That's one guy to own on their defense for sure. I mean, if you're going to own anybody, DeMarcus Lawrence, he's just. I think he's going to do a little bit of the same of what he did last year, and I mean, I know he's dependent on who we're talking to. He's in a lot of people's top 10s, but
right.
Cowboys get valued a little bit higher just because of the hype.
I think he bounces back though. Last year, his shoulder, I think was a big reason why I don't think he had full range or strength back in his shoulder because he had surgery so late.
I don't think that holdout thing and then the shoulder. I think I'm right. I'm with Dan. I think that hurt him a little bit. So,
well, Walter was talking about that. He wanted to get a long-term deal signed before he had the surgery.
Right.
And I think the Cowboys took it all the way to July, till July, till the franchise tag was up because I think they tagged him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they did.
So it was one of those things where he got surgery really late, whereas if he got it in February, when most players get their off-season surgeries, he would have been fully recovered by the time the season rolled around. But because of that delay, I think that impacted his season greatly. Because even if he's and anybody, I'm not saying I've ever been, injured like an NFL player has been injured, but, even if you tweak an ankle, first few times you go to do something, you're a little leery about, going a full bore on limb or that, injury. So, again, I'm not a finely tuned athlete, but, you still have that in the back of your mind, okay, this is still weak. I got to take it easy.
And it's all a game of seconds, just like Al Pacino said in Any Given Sunday. And he missed, I swear it was almost like a 50-50 ball, going in for a sack where he's inches away from getting it and the ball just gets released. And probably had a lot of key knockdowns, but didn't equate into the fantasy stats we're looking for.
Yeah. And he had Robert Quinn was there helping him out.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good season that way. And then Michael Bennett towards the end of the season was there. But he really didn't play that bad all season. His snap counts were down. That's one thing. I think he just couldn't play as well as he usually did. Pressures, though, he had 56 pressures. So his pressures were down from a couple years ago. Sacks were obviously down. He had 2 back-to-back double-digit sack seasons and 6 last year. So, he can return to form. But, yeah, 2017 was his pinnacle. He might be on the downslide, though. If you look at players and snap counts and things, their first 2 to 3 seasons is where they get a bulk of their. I mean, their rookie season normally is low, but their prime years are like their 2 through 4. Teams just wear out guys in those years 2 through 4. Not everybody's a Luke Kuechly that plays 1,000 snaps every year, no matter what.
Yeah, those players don't come around very often.
It's kind of sad to take Luke Kuechly off the list.
Yeah, it is. It's heartbreaking almost.
he's been in my top 12 probably. I mean, I had him lower the last few years just because of those concussion issues,
and that's what forced him to retire or hang it up, I think. I mean, and for him, I think that was a really smart move, and that was a courageous move. Just let me commend him on that because he was playing at an elite level. So to be able to walk away from something that you're probably the top 3, 5 at your position, maybe top 10 overall in the game, and to just say, I'm going to have to step away. That he's to be commended for that. He really is.
It's better to walk away than get carried out. So
true, very true. I mean, I've heard it many times over in history. Players have a hard time just saying, I'm done, or this is enough, or even they do quit and then they come back. I mean, so for him to recognize his position and say, I need to retire. That's.
But I mean, we mentioned wrestling earlier. Wrestlers, they want to leave on their terms. They don't want to be told. Like the wrestler Edge came back from a neck injury. He was told he wasn't ever going to do it again, and he was, he wanted to leave on his own 2 feet, his way, and now he's back. But basically, long story short, athletes don't want to get carried out.
Not everybody can be the John Elway and win 2 Super Bowls and ride off into the sunset.
And I'm not saying Luke Kuechly, if he came back this year, would do that because I don't think Carolina's built to be anywhere near the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think he's just he made a good choice. Now he's a scout and be involved in the organization. And not every player has that opportunity.
Exactly.
So it's I guess a testament to, but I mean, if Luke Kuechly, and even if you're not a Panther fan, I'm not a big Panther fan, but watching that All or Nothing series on Amazon Prime, if you're bored and you have Amazon Prime Video, the All or Nothing series is really good. And even teams you don't like, watching the story of the season is interesting just because you get some insight. Even made Cam Newton likable to me for about 5 minutes. Cam's not my favorite player, but he does a lot of things that irritate me, but he also does a lot of good things that were reflected in that series that made me maybe not be so critical of Cam Newton. He still whines a lot though, but it made me for a minute say, maybe this guy's just a little off from the norm, I guess. It is.
Luke Kuechly. Yeah, Luke Kuechly is one of my favorite linebackers and just IDP guys of all time. I mean, just talk about someone who never comes off the field, super smart, does everything right. I mean, seems like a great teammate from what everybody says, and I mean, just great leader.
Yeah. I don't know. It's always Bobby Wagner for me, but
of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
He's a beast.
Ed, how about your number 12 is where we're at, right? Yep.
Fred Warner got him rounding out the top 12.
Nice.
So I don't think Alexander affects him too much, even if he is healthy, playing in all 16 games. We'll see if that actually happens, but
probably not. Well, he might because his snap counts, I think, are going to be lowered because I think Dre Greenlaw steals some snaps from Alexander because Greenlaw, and this is talking Seahawk fan, Greenlaw played great football down the stretch last year, and he single-handedly won that game pretty much. Both games, he had a big hand in the one. The one he picked, had to pick 6, and the other game tackled Hollister a yard short. So Daryl knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, that's not funny, by the way.
Hey, it wasn't funny for me either, but I figured I remember the shot that I think it was Banterman sent or Mags, Z-Mags sent it to us about being a yard short.
That's just not funny.
It was. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, Fred Warner, a little birdie was telling me that somebody was doubting Fred Warner.
Yeah. Oh my God! Don't.
Why,
I'm trying to be nice, and you want to poke the bear.
I just birdie told me somebody who could be.
But you know how I am.
The people on Twitter, you know.
See, Marino, this is how I get in trouble right here, Marino. This is exactly how I get in trouble.
He's got to pull the bull by the horns, huh?
He just keeps digging, just dig.
But Fred Warner has been a very good. I mean, when Reuben Foster got hurt,
right?
Who stepped in? Fred Warner and had a great rookie season. I mean, he ended up in LB3 that year. So I mean, he wasn't an LB1, but he has steadily become the linebacker to own in Santa Clara.
Right.
They should just change the name to the Santa Clara 49ers because they're not really in San Francisco anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway. But yeah, I'm on board with Warner. I have Warner just below Edmonds. So some guys that I had a little higher that you didn't have higher, just to kind of compare and contrast. I mean, our lists are pretty similar. I have, and he's my only edge guy that I have anywhere near the top of this list is TJ Watt, and just because he is a phenomenal football player. I don't think he's one-dimensional, although he is primarily a pass rusher. He can do just about everything. You know, I have him above Devin Bush even. And Blake Martinez, Daryl will tell you, I'm sure, his love of Blake Martinez for 5 minutes now.
No, I'm not going to do that today.
Okay. I also have Shaq Thompson ahead of Edmonds and Warner. I think it's Shaq's job to inherit Luke's role. And if I mean, he's not Luke Kuechly, but he's pretty talented. He had a good season last season. In the first season, he's really had a full complement of snaps and a full role with the team. I mean, before it was always Thomas Davis has to split time with him, or Thomas Davis is the weak side and Shaq gets to play strong side and come off the field on third downs. Now Thompson's gotten a chance to show that he can play, and he won't leave the field.
Right.
You know, if anybody's going to leave the field, it's Whitehead, because Whitehead is not very good in coverage. So a lot of people are touting Whitehead. I think he'll be good as a two-down thumper, run stopper, you know, LB 3-4 bye week guy, but Thompson's the guy to own there.
Right.
And all three of those guys, I mean, I have them just right outside of like the top 10 for linebackers. TJ Watt, nothing bad to say about him. I mean, they get him more snaps and, you know, maybe move him around a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. Just the sky's the limit with him. It seems like he can do no wrong. Shaq Thompson, love him. I mean, even 2 years ago when he wasn't, you know, like a full starter or anything, I mean, just splitting time, he was still like a guy who I snatched off the waiver wire and was a good fill-in in some leagues. We start like 3 and 4 linebackers. So definitely high on him. Blake Martinez, he's someone I love to talk about just because I'm not as high on him as everybody else. A lot of it probably is because of the move to the Giants. I don't know what it is, and I can't put my finger on it, but the Giants just do not scheme their middle linebackers the right way. And recent history is Alec Ogletree going over there from I don't even know if they were LA at the time, but from the Rams, going over there and took a complete nosedive. I don't think he even missed any time, but he went from being a super solid linebacker 1 to just kind of middle of the road, LB 2 and 3, just, you know, depending on what games you were watching.
My only counter argument to that is, well, what about Ryan Connolly? He had like a 50-point, you know, he was the other inside linebacker spot in their 3-4. He had like a huge game week 1. They got hurt. And then Mayo even had a pretty steady. So maybe it's just Ogletree fell off. Because, I mean, his last year in St. Louis or L.A., whichever one, it wasn't spectacular either. He kind of had 2 or 3 good seasons to start his career and then kind of started declining pretty quickly. So
I'm curious to see what Martinez does, because I was a huge fan when he was in Green Bay. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be. I mean, top 3 guy. I mean, those 2 years in a row, maybe top 5, one of them, but super solid. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that low on him, but
yeah, I don't see the drop off. I think Dan kind of pokes at me. I just kind of feel that people don't want to give him the respect that he deserves. The case was made from few of our good friends. Well, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. That's going to hurt him. It didn't hurt him in the slightest. And now you're hearing about the team change. They've got some young pieces that they're still building around, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to run through Martinez. He is going to clean up everything that comes his way and probably a lot of stuff that don't come his way. He's just going to chase it down. I mean, throughout his career, he has been one of the best 5-6 linebackers in the league, and the Giants are not really that good. They're getting better, but I think he's going to be a mainstay, especially for IDP owners. He's what you're looking for, swallow up the tackles, and anything else that you can get extra is just a pure bonus, but you can almost bet him down for 130 plus tackles a year. So,
yep. That about wrap up this conversation. A couple things.
One thing before we go.
Okay.
I want to, he's give us his top 12. I want to hear his one sleeper at linebacker and one sleeper at safety before we move on.
I suppose prep your guests before they
it just kind of hit me at last minute. My bad.
Now, if you're on the lounge, that's kind of stuff just gets thrown at you all the time. Which Molly, I got you, Alex.
Well, okay. So how about for this? I already talked about him a little bit. I think Miles Jack is a sleeper this year. I mean, every list that I've seen him on, I don't think I've seen him higher than 25 or 30. I mean, I think he's undervalued. I think he's going to finish as an LB2. So that'll be my sleeper for linebacker. That's someone who I've drafted as a linebacker 2 and linebacker 3 in a few leagues, couple where he's a bench guy. And I feel super solid if I got him as a bench guy and someone who I could just mix in and see how the year starts.
Right.
And let's see. For DB,
I'll kill some time for you. On the IDP Lounge, we get questions from guests all the time just thrown at us. So like Daryl just throw that at Alex here. We will field your questions and answer them as best as we can on the fly. Obviously, I'll be feverishly clicking to try to find some stats to try to back up our arguments or whatever, or to just throw stuff. By the way, TJ Watt had 81 pressures last season. That's ridiculous. Yes.
Okay, so my safety sleeper, I'm going to go with Darnell Savage, someone who I think is around 35-40 range in most people's rankings. I think he has a real step-up year. Losing Martinez, I mean, that's going to clear some of the stuff in the middle of the field, and let's see if they use him a little bit differently, have him going down in the box a little bit more. But I think his tackles increase, and if he mixes in a couple sacks and an interception or two, he's going to be a really solid guy to draft late who might be able to mix in as a fringe DB2, DB3-ish guy.
Yep.
Love it, man. A lot of people's not giving Savage a lot of love. I personally, for one, am. I like him. Think he's a good fit up there in Green Bay. So, yeah, man, I like it. Good pick.
And good team name, Darnell Savage Garden.
Yes. Yes.
One of our listeners put. Anyway, one more time for the folks at home, where can they find you and your work?
So on YouTube, Fantasy Stock Exchange, that's the big channel that I'm a part of. And my series within that show is Defense Wins Championships. And find me on Twitter at FFHustler420.
All righty. And you can check those things out. I think we have we don't have a date on the books yet, but we'll definitely have you by the lounge to come hang out with us. And also you can check out the all of us post to the Fantasy Football IDP Facebook group. So if you're an IDP enthusiast, you can head on over there. There's always questions going up. A lot of people talking about no season, and I just put that Ricky Bobby gif up every time somebody mentions that. Put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, because the season's happening.
Yes, it is.
If you can send students and teachers into schools with 30 kids in a class climbing all over each other, then you can play football for 3 hours. But
That's for sure.
I'll get off my political soapbox now. But anyway, there you go. MyFantasyLeague.com obviously is where we play our listener league. It's also the sponsor for the IDP Guys Autism Speaks Invitational, which will be kicking off in about 2.5 weeks or so. I believe August 1st is the kickoff for that. If you did not get in that tournament, you can still sign up. We are kind of, the teams are set, and we have a couple alternates already kind of set up in case people drop out or whatever. If you did not donate yet, if you need the link, hit us up. We'll get you the link to donate. Over $1,000 has already been raised, which is awesome.
Nice.
And another couple hundred from Eliminators has been raised. Also, if you're interested in Eliminator, I'm still looking to fill up about 5 more. There's not many spots. There's about probably 10 to 12 spots total across the 5 leagues. Maybe Daryl's needs a little bit more. I think I signed up for that.
I'm scared to play me. Scared.
Don't be scared. He'll overdraft.
I'll be right back. I will, but I'll be.
Scared money don't make money.
Yeah. See, now the people on YouTube can see Daryl's empty chair that we see. It'll be as famous as that dude's chair from the Podathon that was being talked about. But anyways, we're going to get on to the Patreon episode here. I guess Daryl's got something for us. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to show us something since we're on YouTube or something. But anyway, I'll kill us some more time until he gets back. Dig is going to be recording this weekend, so if you have any college football IDP questions, send them our way. I know that is a booming business, it seems like. Do you play in any college?
Not yet. I mean, it's something that, hopefully there is a college season. I know there'll be an NFL season, but college, remains to be seen. But I'm starting to get into it more, just trying to get any edge that I can in the dynasty leagues and get it, taking all the content from these college players, and just helps getting the information a couple years in advance.
Absolutely. And I dabbled in Devi IDP a little bit here and there. A couple years ago, I joined a league. We draft one guy on offense and one guy on defense. So it's not, hardcore. And then I got another league where it's like 10 rounds of Devi, offense and defense. So I've gotten more and more into it now. Eric has us in a Campus to Canton league. So we did the NFL portion of the draft and the rookie draft. Now we got to do the college draft. But I think we're kind of holding off. I know some schools, they're only playing their conference. They come out and said, I think Pac-12 and Big Ten are the two that have confirmed that they're only going to have conference games, and they canceled some sports entirely.
Yeah.
Eastern Carolina University, I saw today, has canceled their fall season for all sports, I think, is what I read. So,
and all the Ivy Leagues too, right?
And Ivy Leagues, and those are some smart people up there in those Ivy League schools. They said it's not worth it.
Yeah, we know football isn't their moneymaker, so I'm sure it was no big deal to them.
Well, you can go to Harvard. It's $50,000 for online classes.
Yeah.
Harvard is not going back to in-person school either. So, I've always wanted to go for Harvard, but $50,000 a year doesn't sound for homeschool, for remote learning doesn't sound like the Harvard experience I'd want to pay $50,000 for a semester.
Yeah, all I think of when I hear Harvard and that $50,000 a semester tuition is that movie With Honors from back in the day with Joe Pesci and Brendan Fraser. I imagine the teachers who are going to be teaching at Harvard are going to be more of the Joe Pesci style.
I thought you were bringing us something, Daryl.
No, we've got some baby kittens outside, and we've got a stray raccoon, so I had to scare him off. Sorry. My bad.
Right. The way you left, I was killing time. I would have just wrapped up. But anyway, we're going to hit the Patreon with the rest of this conversations, and we're going to get
drive through. Yes.
You've been waiting a long time for that, huh?
I have been waiting on this all night. Since Marino mentioned this has been on my brain. Just tick, 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 tick.
Oh yeah, let's pull it up, get some research going on that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. I got to find the outro again. I got to put this somewhere. There we go. It's here. But anyway, we will talk to you all next week. Join us on the lounge Friday night, 9 o'clock.
Yes.
And that's about it. Go Hawks.
Good night, John Boy. Tighten up.
Good night, John Boy. And good night now.
Good night, Sue Ellen.